Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Doing things a little bit different today. Um, Hoping everybody is having a good day. Um, Trying to get this thing started here. Where is the notification? So I wanted to hop on here because I didn't do so yesterday, and I want to get through. There we go. I want to get some things out because, if I had not gone through this journey myself, I would not take this thing. It's not that I would not take it seriously, it's just that I would not recognize the extreme importance of me reaching out and me doing this very often, me taking it seriously, me coming and giving my contribution every day, as I have felt the need to. So, I've been gang stalked, and I've done 2 years. I've done my time of the street crowding. Thank you. And then I've done my time of having people in my energy again. Thank you, God. It has been rough, period. There's no way around it. It's super rough. The street, like being actually followed everywhere and being crowded out on the street, is ridiculous. It's insane. It's tough. So I can speak to that from experience and from a place of knowing, not just being empathetic, but knowing what that feels like, knowing the stress of that, and knowing how it feels to pray for that to be done, to end that cycle. So I've gone through that phase, and that's been one thing. And then I have gone through my phase of when people were no longer able to access my energy on the streets, then they wanted to access, my energy in general. And so I got a lot of energy attacks. And, I don't know if anybody's going through that, but the energy work is it's like a whole new ball game. It's a whole new thing. And I'm really happy that they're out of my energy. And you have no idea, like, people being in your energy that you don't know, it just feels like a violation. It feels like a rape. There is no way around how to talk about that. It just feels like a rape. Especially when these are energies that are dirty. So you recognize energies, and you will recognize energies if you have a lot of energy attacks. You'll start recognizing energies the same way you recognize faces, the same way you recognize people. So, it depends on how you're experiencing them. Like, some people, you might smell them. You definitely feel them. You get an idea of what kind of person they are. If this is an evil person, if this is what kind of spirit is it, and that's really what it boils down to when you think about people and their souls. You think about the fact that we are just inhabiting a body, but what is inside, that I think doesn't change. That's unchangeable. I think we have the same sort of, whether it's personality or tendencies or whatever, throughout lifetimes, whether we come back in, if you're, I happen to be Black in this lifetime, but I definitely know there were lifetimes that I remember, lifetimes that I was not. And I think it also explains why you love certain things, why you're attracted to certain things, why you're open to certain things, maybe open to certain cultures, open to certain, practices, whatever it is. So, you know, a lot about my page, I definitely kind of explore these kind of ideas, which is really weird for me personally in this lifetime, because I've been such a, I haven't been like, first of all, you know, for the years that I've been ultra spiritual, it's been to myself. I never thought this was something that I would share, just because, you know, when you're spiritual, you understand that there are a lot of people that are put off by some of this information, like they're not quite sure how to take it. I think people being gang stalked are special individuals to some degree. Maybe not all, but I think a good amount are. I think we are people that maybe have gifts and talents and abilities that we just don't know about yet. I think sometimes we are not sure why we're being gang stalked, and maybe in the beginning it might be one reason, but maybe the continued persecution comes from something else. So, you know, there's that. I definitely feel like, especially in my personal situation, I know that the obsession with me, you know, it's not necessarily always to do with my ex, which is how this situation started. And I even know that the stuff that I'm going through personally, the energy attacks and all of that, even though, you know, it has to continue because people are in a life or death situation, kind of like figuring out themselves, even though it has to continue, not figuring out themselves. They need to get rid of me to survive, basically. I also know that there's a huge part of it where this is just my journey and I need to learn. If these things don't happen, would I 100% believe in the spirit world? No. Would I trust in God the way that I do? Not the way that I do. I would trust in God, but not the way that I do. I depend on God for everything, and it's counterintuitive to what I'm used to. As a person, I don't like to bother people, so I don't like to be the person who's always calling and always needs something and always asking for something. And in this walk with my spirit team, it's like they had to let me know early on, like, it's okay, you gotta trust us for everything. We are telling you to depend on us for everything. You need us. So it's been a change of pace. It's been a huge change of pace in how I live. Everything about my life has changed. This episode, this cycle has come in and knocked my life in a new place that I would have never, you know, they would have struggled to get me on the path that I am right now. So there's a lot of times where things happen, and I can tell you, God has the authority and the means to stop this immediately. So if it's happening because it has to happen. And it's a tough pill to swallow when you're winded, when you're being persecuted, when you're exhausted, when you're pissed off. But it has to happen. So there were times that I would notice things happening during the gang stalking sort of cycle. Like, I'm talking about being crowded out on the streets, being followed everywhere. There were times where I could see that they were blocking something for me, and God was in agreement of what was being blocked. And I'm gonna give an example. So I remember I had to get ready to go to this BravoCon, I'll just say it. I own a clothing store, and we were styling celebrities in Vegas. And I had everything planned out, everything mapped out. I knew, like, I had my emails templated and everything that I was gonna send out. I had my list mapped out, and I wanted to take a nap. And as soon as I was falling asleep, I just got all this like energy work, all this spell work, and I was pissed off. And I got up and I'm like, how can you? I just want to take a nap. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get it done. And that day was the day that I sent out, I don't even know how many emails, maybe 200 emails. I got all the responses that I need, and that was the beginning of me putting everything in place to be able to have a very successful period at that show. And that was one of the situations where I thought back and I was like, had they not sent all that energy at me, I would have been sleeping that Sunday. I remember it was a Sunday. I ate, I was tired because, I wasn't sleeping well, not because I don't sleep well, but because I always get work thrown at me. And that was one of the days I realized, like, God lets these things happen to almost push you in the direction that you're supposed to go. So throughout this journey, I've really seen kind of the way the universe works up close. It's almost like the exact same things in life can happen to me, and now I can kind of like stretch it out and be able to tell, like, oh, this is happening because of this, and that's happening because of that, and this is what I'm supposed to do. And it's a very tough thing because we beat ourselves up a lot about things, how things go. But I've just come to the conclusion that, and it's hard because I know this into like mentally I know, but it's not easy to accept that things are happening the way that they're supposed to happen, because sometimes it's like you get mad at people, you get hurt by situations, you get hurt by people. I'm a person who likes to deal with my problems quietly and gracefully, but in this season, I have to be loud about things. It's not natural for me. So it's kind of like learning to drive a car or ride a bike. It's shaky in the beginning. You're not good at it. It's not graceful, it's not smooth. And then eventually it does get to the point where it's like, okay, I know how to do this. I know when to do this. I can select which times make sense to do this and which times I just gotta let it go. So it does take all of that happening. And, to give an example of that, it's like situations where I gotta like try not to let them bother me. It's hard because people have been bothering me for 2 years. And situations where, for me, I'm like, there's people I never thought would get involved in this gang stalking thing. If not for me, then hopefully over their spiritual beliefs. There are readers, tarot readers that are gang stalkers, that are turning into gang stalkers or have turned into gang stalkers or are no longer on our side, are no longer on our team. And that's shocking to see that happen. But at the same time, it's like I take notes from it in the sense of being aware that if you don't stay on your toes, if you don't stay aware, that you can fall into and become the same thing that you're fighting against or the same thing that you despise. I also look at it where I realize that God gives you a gift, and I've said this before, God gives you a gift and you are a custodian of the gift. You're a guardian of the gift. It could be taken. It could be blocked. Just because, you're a reader and you have sight and you're intuitive or you're psychic, there are things that you're not going to see and you're going to be blindsided. And my situation, well, it's not my situation. That's really part of what I want to talk about today. So I remember in the beginning of this that there were always indications here or there that it was like layers to this thing, like an onion, okay? So on the very outside level, on the surface level, so eye level, you're being gang stalked, you're being followed everywhere, you're being harassed, they're tearing your life to shreds. A layer below that, it's like you're learning all of these lessons, you're learning these things about yourself. If you do it the right way, if you engage with this situation the correct way, the way you're supposed to, you're learning from it. So very early on, as people were learning me, learning my routines, learning how I respond to things, I was also learning them. So it's like, as they do things, then I learn their tactics. And that's why a lot of us can come up here and tell other people about like what's going on and how it's going on because we're learning so much on the ground. And then a layer below that, it was like, wait a minute, I think I'm just standing in this position so that people could get cleared out, so that people could get karma. And it's the way that things are happening that you realize that this is not an accident. Like, so for me, I had a spiritual awakening during the whole gang stalking thing. Things that I kind of thought about myself or suspected about myself, it's like they got confirmed. And then I got to the point where, I don't know, I felt like I was just observing things happening around me. Like somebody would start, okay, so I'm gonna be very specific. The person gang stalking me, who was supposed to be, I guess, the chief handler, the person kind of orchestrating everything in the background. I remember having a conversation with this person and realizing that literally everything that was happening, that they were doing to me, was happening to them. So I remember where, you know, they were trying to break up my relationship, and they did. And people had their relationships falling apart. And, you know, people were wishing like car accidents on me, and like, you know, I'd smell gas in my house, and then it's like another person's house would be set on fire. It's just like certain put it this way, I knew what they were wishing on me based on the things that was happening to them. And it's gotten to the point, the way the majority of me being crowded out in the streets stopped is because I got known in my city as like, if you gang stalk this person, bad shit's gonna start happening in your life. But it almost was like at the point that I figured that out, it's almost like that's the point that you kind of don't want the gang stalking to stop, in a sense, because you're like, maybe God's clearing house. Like maybe the universe is clearing out people who would agree to this sort of thing. And like just recently there was a situation with someone, a reader that I liked. I shouted her out on my page and everything, and she went rogue. Like she tried to turn into a handler. And I saw that she was going through like financial things. It was very obvious. Like she couldn't get her hair done on time. Like you could just see. It's a tough walk. It's a tough walk. This is a tough walk. You got to get used to, you know, being like, you get a fight for everything that you want to do. They fight you down. And so I remember even praying for her a couple of times. Like, I was like, God, you know, like she's doing the right thing, like, you know, throw her a bone or whatever the case was. And it's just like watching, and I thought like, it's like me. People come to watch me give advice to others about, you're going through gang stalking, you're not alone. I understand, I'm going through it too. And you can't help but feel some sort of alliance spiritually, energetically. You can't help but feel as if, well, this person knows what it's like, they're going through it too. And imagine if you find out one day that I am working against you. Listen, it's one thing if you find out I'm fake, like this is a fake person, they were never really gang stalked, they're leading people astray, etc. It's one thing to find out that I'm fake, because you expect it now that people are fake. But to find out that I'm intentionally working against you, specifically harassing you, the person that is watching, that is here to get help, it would be a jarring feeling. So it was very crazy to see this person strategically put in a place, her of all people, put in a place to do that. So it has just been like, I just feel like, but then again, it's like, and that's the thing, you can know something, you know, intellectually you could know something, and then it still doesn't necessarily all the time stop how you take it, because you're a human being. So for me, it's like, intellectually I can say, yeah, I get it. This person was fake. God always knew it and had to get out of the way. And I remember when there was a time, because I have a clothing store, and I sent her a piece of clothing to wear, and she posted it with like pornographic lyrics. Like, I mean, pornographic lyrics, like very explicit lyrics. And I saw red flags all the way through, but I was like, nah, maybe. But I'm like, is she that slow? But it's like I've gotten used to looking at people wondering if that they're that slow. People who I've respected their intellect, I've gotten used to thinking, can they be that slow? So it's like the world is a bizarre place for me now. I don't know what to think. People act one way and they do another thing. So you don't know what to think. You just gotta think for yourself. So, I'm like, okay, maybe this person's being spiritually attacked, whatever the case is, and maybe they're making poor decisions. I'm not sure. And I remember before I was sending the clothing, I was like, I was hesitant. Like, I didn't really want to. And I had said I was going to send clothing for a while back, and I never did. And when I did send the clothing, it's like my spirit was just urging me, like, send it, don't worry, send it, send it, send it. And I sent it, and then that happened. And a couple other things happened that it's not even important to go into. But it's like, this is the thing. This is not the first, probably not the last time that it's like people take from me intentionally to hurt me. So I'm saying all of that to say, and then they get karma. And let me tell you, let me not skip this part because this is important. So if you're watching my page right now, I'm being gang stalked by the cartel. And so they have a lot of resources. They watch everything. They put people in place around you, all of this. You got to be fearless to go through this. You got to be a certain type of person to be able to endure this. Okay. I think a lot of people are just being gang stalked by maybe not violent gangs. There's a lot being gang stalked by the cartel. I'm not the only one, but when you're gang stalked by a violent gang, there's always that awareness that things can be physical, physically violent. They use a lot of spiritualists, a lot of occultists, a lot of spell work. They use a lot of that as well. So it's like they kind of try to check off every box when it comes to that. They want to gang stalk you. They want to spiritually attack you. They want to attack your finances. They want to attack your living situation. They want to attack everything. And with her, the way that they work is once you agree to work with them, you become part of them and you belong to them whether or not you know it or not. By the time they approach you, they've already surrounded you. They already know everything about you. They're already in your business. They beat off your real customers, and then all your customers that you currently have are all cartel. So if you don't want to listen without them resorting to the violence, because maybe they could do that in certain countries, but in bigger countries, they got to be careful. They have maybe alliances with police where it's like there are boundaries. You guys can't just go into every home and gun people down. You got to do it another way. So if you don't listen, well, if you have 100 clients, all 100 are cartel. We'll just all stop buying at the same time. We'll all stop viewing your channel at the same time. We'll all stop working with you at the same time. And so your income goes from whatever it was, 100,000, 200,000 to zero. So you don't even know yet that they possess you because you don't have the skills to recognize when these people are surrounding you. And it's not just with your income, it's with everything. You go to this dental office, well, we're going to send our people to go work there. You go to this food place, we're going to send our people to go there, to work over there. And these are the people that are nicest to you. These are the people that you have some sort of little rapport with. So that when they activate them, when they pull the plug on you and they turn on the switch on you, these are the same people that are the ones that sell you out and treat you in a hostile manner. And that adds an element of betrayal to it. It adds an element of what has happened in the world when really it's just all cartel. So for this girl, she's in a situation now where she's realizing that business she's running is not hers. She's realizing that all the followers are fake, the engagement's fake, and she's realizing that she has to do what she has to do. So, though they created an atmosphere of animosity between us, which is what they wanted to do because they wanted to deal a blow to me emotionally, and they can't do that because they've never been able to really do that because I don't have any friends. I'm not going to tell you I don't really have friends, but I've always been that way. I've always been like too busy to nurture relationships the way that I should. I've had acquaintances, I've had people that I'm great with, but not people where I'm like, let's go on a trip together. It's like I'm predominantly like a family person. So all of this happened, and she essentially now, there's the animosity, and now they're like, go back and follow her because she's the last hope they have to get anyone close enough to me. And she's realizing she has to do what she has to do. She doesn't understand that she's cartel now. She doesn't understand that she's in a predicament. And that's why it's like, listen, karma knows what it's doing. And this is a situation where it's so orchestrated. Like, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to pray against this person. I don't have to ask for anything. Like, oh, like, no, it's like, this is bad. This is worse. Living in this way, is belonging to these people, is the worst case scenario. If she didn't believe what I was saying before when I was making my videos, she knows it now. People are showing up around her house now. All the agents that they put not only on her social media platforms, but in her life, they're popping up now. They're activated now. So I say all that to say, don't worry about people getting retribution. Don't worry about, just pray, pray, pray. And yeah, there are prayers that you're going to pray because you're like, this particular person did something to me, I really don't appreciate it. That particular person did something, I really don't appreciate that. So you might want to pray about it. But the thing is, we're praying, and we cannot force Spirit's hand. So, if you make a prayer and you ask for something that God's not in agreement with, you're just not going to get it. Simple as that. You're just not going to get it. It's going to be a no. That prayer is going to be denied. Some prayers are going to be held for a later date, but talk to God. I talk to God in the same way that I'm talking to you right now. I express my feelings. I express my hurt. I go in the Spirit, and that's where I get my comfort. That's where I get explanations for things. And believe me, that's where you want to get explanations for things. It's through this spiritual walk that I've been able to endure. I've been gently pushed always in the direction that I'm supposed to go. Spirit does not let up on you when you're supposed to do something specific. If Spirit wants you to work on something and fix it, boy, the signs are going to be everywhere. That's how I know that these people are going through it. So now it's like, that was one of my lessons. If Spirit says, I don't know, eat better, and I don't listen, I'm going to start seeing it everywhere. Eat better, healthy, eat better, do this, do that. I'm going to see it everywhere, and I won't be able to escape it. So it's the same for you. When there's a lesson to learn, you're going to get the indication at first. And if you don't figure it out, it's going to keep happening until you figure it out. So for me, how have I been able to close cycles really quickly? Like this. I was a little bit too dependent on readers. I liked readings, I enjoyed it, but I was a bit too dependent. And so I had to always use my intuition as like, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So I have to filter everything. And that last one was the blow that I needed to get, because it was like, you've seen that this reader's fake, that reader's fake, you've seen it. And so now it's like, you need to strengthen your own spiritual voice. And maybe, you know what, it's like God allowed it for the time period because there were specific things, but it was like, now is the time for you to strengthen your own inner voice and inner knowing. Now is the time for you to really connect with Spirit in a much, much deeper way, because you're going to be, helping people. And it's like, I got to learn the lesson from it. And so for me now, I am way less interested, dependent on readings in general, because I just don't I don't need it, you know. I want to also give that to anybody watching here. Take everything I say and use your discernment at the end of the day, because we are in treacherous times. People flip all the time and they have their reasons. It's either money because they're dead broke or whatever. And they play on your money until they get you to the point where you're dead broke and you're terrified of being homeless or this, that, and the third. And you're gonna take a deal to do something that is immoral, unethical, whatever the case is. But take everything I say and run it past your gut. Take whatever anybody says and run it past your gut. Be slow to make decisions and much slower to make important decisions. If you have to buy things and sell things, I mean big life decisions, take your time, think it through. Don't rush into anything. Now's not the time to be signing any contracts. In my opinion, there may be things that are necessary to do, but you got to use your discernment with everything that you're doing. Run it past your gut. If it feels good, if you're worried about something, if you're hesitant, even 1%, even 0.1% hesitation is something that you need to think about twice. There are people you can feel sure about, and those are the people. And people that you have any doubt about, any sort of suspicion about whatsoever, take that as a confirmation, because that's what spiritual guidance feels like. If you think that being psychic is necessarily hearing a voice in your head, you kind of don't want to hear voices in your head, to be honest with you. If you hear one voice, you can hear all the voices. That's the reality. So now you're going to need discernment on what voice to listen to. So you want to be careful. You have a gut and you have an intuition, and I believe the intuition is the voice of God. Something looks good, it sounds good, it seems like it makes sense, it seems profitable, and it's kind of, if your gut says even 0.1%, your gut says, not quite sure that this makes sense for me. That's your indication that it's not for you. You don't want to find out. This is not a period where you want to find out why. This is a period where you want to learn. You do not ever want to find out why anything right now. This is not the time to be playing games with people. This is not the time to overly trust family and friends. Just be careful. Just be careful. I want to reiterate that. What I predominantly want to talk about today is tough days, because that's what you're going through. We are going through tough times, and you're going to have tough days. And that's the long and short of it. I've had my fair share. I've had more than my fair share, to be honest with you, of tough days. I've had moments that I don't like reliving, moments that piss me off, quite frankly. Hold on. Hey, before you leave, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you get me the sage and the lighter? Yeah, I've had moments where I'm not sleeping very well. I can't fall asleep at night, and then I'm being woken up very early in the morning. So I'm running on like low sleep, and it's been a long time like that. I have this, just the lighter. Just the lighter. And I've had a lot of days like that, so I'm exhausted, and then I gotta go to work on top of it. It's on the floor right there. Right there. The Ziploc. I've had a lot of days like that. I've had a lot of, thank you, bye. I've had a lot of days like that where it's been, I'm working on like no sleep for months at a time, if not more. Then I have people irritating me at my place of business. Then I have, things not going well, things falling apart. Then I have messages that at the time used to give me anxiety because they could affect my money at that time. Then I have, now there are things that I didn't have that I'm grateful for. And let me put it out there. for those of you, because I want to add some context for people who so to give you something to be grateful for. I didn't have young kids that they could break up my relationship and then I could end up in like a custody battle, or then I can end up with like social workers in my life. Thank you, God. Awful, because there are people who are going through that. They have children, all of a sudden their relationship falls apart. All of a sudden, the person that they used to live with, that they used to love, becomes an enemy. They're fighting in court. They're adding that layer of complexity to your life. I didn't have a ton of friends who could either influence me the wrong way or start turning on me. There are people who are going through a huge amount of betrayal because of all the emotional relationships and connections that they have. All these friends, all these family members that are turning on them, all these members in the community. That's difficult. It's difficult. Now, so for me, I've always, like, I've never really had issues with people in my community. I've been in business and I've been successful. So I'm gonna have girls that are in competition with me, that maybe do the same thing that I do, and they can't, they perhaps feel like they're not making the same money or whatever. And so I've had those people who have, but I expected those people. I always knew and I expected. And a lot of those people I got rid of very early. And that's the thing about me. And I'm grateful about this with myself as well. I don't wait. I don't wait to find out with people. I never have. If my gut says no, then it's a no. If you're weird, then you're weird. If you do something wrong, and that's how you got to live now. If somebody shows you, somebody only has one time to show you, or you have one time to suspect, and you got to get out of there. You cannot give them time to form a plan around you. So, for me, I've always been this way. So it's been something where I've left. I've left those situations. So where I wanted to kind of be nice to certain people and think that competition doesn't exist, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter. These people just don't like me because, they feel like I'm stealing market share. But I didn't have, say, a girls group or a clique or whatever where it's like they could just drop me. I've always been independent. If anything, people are having a difficult time breaking into my social networks, and they really just want to break in so that they can create a way for people to drop me. They want to break in to create betrayals, to have situations where it's like, okay, let's let her get close to this person and then let's let this person like stab her in the back. I'm naturally uninterested in that because I'm busy, but I naturally just don't meet people that I feel like we align enough for me to invest my time in cultivating a relationship. Because it's time. It's time. And you got to be really wary of your time and your energy in the space that we're in right now. I think my overwhelming message is to continue to push forward. That's what God has continued to tell me every day, is to push forward. Now, you have valid reasons. And listen to the word that I'm using. I'm not saying excuses. You have valid reasons to not want to wake up in the morning and keep going. Reasons. It seems like everything you're doing is not working, and that is not true. What you have to do is be a bank of ideas. You have to constantly be coming up with something new. This is the position that you must take. You must constantly be coming up with something new. So when one door is blocked, you open up another one. You do something, the same thing, another way. You push through and you endure. You don't want to do anything. You are not sleeping well. You're going through, like I said, betrayals. You're going through a lot of upheaval. You're having things hacked. You're having constant. It's a nightmare. You're going through hell. It is what it is. But that's how you have to look at it. You're going through hell. You got to keep going. You cannot afford to stop while you're in hell. You cannot afford to stop your feet moving while you're in that place. You can take a break when you're out. And that's how you have to look at it. If it's difficult to run or you're exhausted, you walk. And if it's difficult to walk, you crawl. And even if you're having difficulty crawling, you drag on your stomach and you keep going. As slow as it may be, God rewards that kind of effort. God rewards that kind of endurance, that kind of stamina, because really, God needs you to stand in place. And when I say stand in place, I don't mean like not move. I mean not come off your post in the sense of not come off your life, not decide to give your life away because things are tough. I'm telling you, if you get to your last dollar, and I feel like in my heart, genuinely, I will say this, my genuine opinion is, if you do this right, God will not let you get to your last dollar. There will always be bread. There will always be another way. There will always be help. There will always be a solution. But if you were to get to your last dollar, you still don't get off this shit. You keep going. Okay, then I gotta go get a job. Okay, then I gotta go do this. Okay, then I gotta go do that. Okay, then I got, like, you're not succumbing. And I'm talking specifically to people fighting not to be in the cartel or fighting to leave. You gotta do what you gotta do and endure what you gotta endure to not go. A lot of my content is about how to endure spiritually, energetically, so that the stuff that's in real time can be dealt with. In real time, you're dealing with bullying. In real time, you're dealing with like a high school bully. That's how gang stalkers think. They want to mock you. They want to make you feel uncomfortable. They want to go to your job and turn everybody on the job against you, blah, blah, blah. Everything happening in real time needs to still be by the law. So they have to watch how they do it. They have to kind of like watch the way they do it, but it has to be by the law. If they were not going to operate by the law, they would have already not done it. It doesn't take 2 years to not operate by the law. They got to be by the law, okay? However, the spiritual stuff is what makes it difficult. It compounds, it adds another layer. So I talk a lot about being able to endure in the spirit, being able to get through spiritually. Closing cycles will close phases of abuse. So as I learned all the lessons that I need to learn about being crowded out on the streets, about who to trust and whatever, as I learned all of that, the cycle closed. And then it was like I'm not talking about a little relief, I got great relief from that. And then the universe gave me the little tips and tricks and the keys, which I come here and I share some of them with you guys, of how to close a bit of that cycle. If you're hearing any of that, that means it's your time. That means you've learned your lessons and it's your time to know that. Number one thing, you're being tracked. All your devices are being used to monitor you. All of them. The laptops, the cell phones, if it can take an internet connection, it means it pings on a tower. It means they know your location from it. If it has a microphone or a camera, it can be activated remotely. That's the way you gotta look at it. Simple. Turning it on airplane mode and all of that doesn't help. It's still pinging on a tower. If it could get a call, if it could get a text, if it could even be turned off, it could be remotely turned back on. Leave it at home and go handle your business in the day. They're gonna guess, they have good guesses where you're gonna go because you probably go to the same places, probably around the same times. So you gotta shuffle that. You gotta change that up. All the time, you have to be unpredictable. And when you learn those lessons and you get good at it, these cycles close for you. And then there's other cycles that open because there's other things you have to learn. Now, perhaps it wasn't super difficult, like the energy stuff wasn't super difficult. At the same time, the street stalking was difficult because that's too much on one person, right? But when that closed out, then I had to focus on the energy stuff. How do I deal with it? I had to come up with solutions. Again, a lot of which that I share with you guys, of how do you make sure that people don't just come in your house energetically, don't just project their energy anytime they feel like. How do you make it difficult for them? Because sometimes you can't close something before it's ready to be closed, but you can make things difficult for people. You can make it where people really have to put a lot of effort. You know, for me, people gotta use a lot of effort and they gotta be brave to gang stalk me. They gotta be brave. They gotta be brave. Cause I don't take it easy on anyone. No one. No one. But that's the point that I had to get to. I was the exact opposite before I got gang stalked. I would just let things go because I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. But now I don't let anything go. I don't let anyone get away, even if they were nice, even if they were forced to do it, even if they didn't want to do it. There's just don't do it. Just don't do it. Simple. I'm non-negotiable. The spirit world is like that as well. Karma is karma, and it doesn't matter why you did it. It doesn't matter what your intentions are. You're just not supposed to do it. You can't negotiate with spirit. You can't come and plead and beg. While you're begging, karma will play out. And so I'm like that in a lot of ways. If you gang stalk me, if you do anything to hurt me, if somebody sent you and you can't help it, you're still destroying my life. And by destroying my life, you're destroying my kids' lives. So that's a no. So there's no mercy, there's no negotiation. And this has been so tough that the moment that I get the opportunity to get justice, I'm really going to make sure that it's handled correctly. And you're not going to get your justice until you learn that lesson. You're not going to get your justice if you're going to fumble it. They're going to extend it until you get it. If it's in the cards for you to have something, then you need to be equipped to handle what you think you're going to get. Everybody wants to be rich, everybody wants to be famous, everybody wants to be all of these things, but can you handle that life? Those are difficult life paths, even though you think that they're not. Look at you right now being gang stalked and you're broke. I'm not saying you don't have any money. I'm saying you're not a billionaire. You're not a multimillionaire, right? And look at what they're doing. Now imagine what these people who are famous, imagine what they go through. Imagine the stalkers that they have. Imagine the cycles in their energy. So you have to be able to negotiate, be ruthless, you have to be able to do things in favor of yourself without worrying about other people's feelings, without worrying about being accepted, without worrying about, well, it's my sister, it's my brother. Of course, they're going to go through your brother and your sister and whatever to get to you. Imagine being a celebrity. And I always say nobody's gang stalked more than celebrities. You have groups that follow you around, track your private jet. You're on a private island. They still have a helicopter over top getting pictures of you. It's like you can't escape them. So this is what you're going through. So you got to think about it like that. You're going to have tough days, and you're going to have days where you're going to want to snap. You're going to want to lose your cool. I have those days now. Didn't so much in the beginning, but now more so. You're sick of the cycle, me and you both. I'm tired of this nonsense. I want it done. But my situation shows hope that it's not very much longer. And I've thought that for a while, but I thought that from a place of misinformation. Like, I didn't know for sure that it wasn't much longer. Now I know what to look for, what makes sense. I can see the signs, I could see things in the air. So I continue to trust God, and I don't know, none of us know the exact date, the exact time, but I feel like it's coming. You're gonna have days where you're gonna be exhausted. Every time you're doing something you're supposed to do, you're feeling exhausted. You're feeling something, you're feeling uncomfortable in your body. You gotta keep going. You gotta sage, you gotta get some crystals, you gotta do what you gotta do, and you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. That means you're doing the right thing. Every time you're doing the right thing is when you're gonna face nonsense. So you're doing the right thing. That's number one. I have days where I just gotta take that hour or two nap. I gotta time it, and I gotta say, God, please wake me up in like an hour or two. And like clockwork, I'm gonna wake up in an hour or two, and I'm gonna get back to it. Days that I don't have those days often, because I don't allow myself to have those days often, get a coffee. I was never a coffee drinker, but you might need to get a coffee. You might need to get up and do some jumping jacks. You might need to do something. A lot of the time, sometimes what happens is your energy is being drained from your body, and you literally just have to say, I recall my energy back to my body. And that's it. And say it with force, say it with, and mean it. And you'll feel better, I swear to God. Words mean a lot. They do. They mean a lot. Very early on, I was like, I am not going to succumb to this. And these people are not taking my life. I'm going to fight back. And I have constantly said that. And I've said that to other people. Fight back. Fight back. You think you can't fight back, but yes, you can. I'm very, no matter, I'm known in my city for, I don't know, you know, I know what I'm known for, but people don't want to make eye contact with me in public. People don't want to come around me. And you know, my thing, the best that I can do for them is if they come around me and they were told to do something and they don't want to do it and they don't do it, I don't talk about it. A lot of times there's things that I know people were supposed to do, I can tell, and they don't want to do it and they don't do it. And I don't come on here and talk about it. So if they go back and they go say, yeah, I did it, great, because they didn't want to do it and they were pushed. You know, so I don't say anything about it. Thank you for not doing it. That's it. Thank you for not wanting to be in my energy. Thank you for not, you know, going out of your way to make me uncomfortable. Thank you for thinking better of it. And that's it. That's it, and that's all. And that's been happening for a long time, and a lot of it I just don't talk about. So, you know, it is what it is. These people have families to think about, they have things to think about, and they should be thinking about that. You know, as long as people don't cross the line with me and just leave me the hell alone, because I understand the situation. I understand that they are being forced. I understand that there are people that are bullying them, and so maybe they just have to show up, and that's it. You know, and I'll say it again to anybody listening. Tell them you did it. Tell them you did it. Tell them that I was scared. Tell them blah, 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 whatever you want to say. And move on with your day, because this is not worth it to get involved. There's a very heavy energy around in my city, and people know what that energy feels like. It is a very oppressive force that is eating away at people's lives. And I know what this energy is. And, you know, there are some people that remain committed because they don't care. They don't care if people are innocent people. They don't care. They have an objective and they're going to try to run it out. And they're going to do whatever they can do, even though they're exhausted. You have to learn how to rejuvenate your energy. You're on the right side of things. You need to meditate. You need to pray. You need to breathe. You need to have days where you have an afternoon meditation in the middle of a morning and an evening meditation. You need to have days where you need to take 10 minutes out of the day to pull and go pray. When you have feelings that are not your feelings, anger and rage that is not yours, hopelessness, feeling like things are going to fall apart, when you start feeling all of that, you got to talk to God. And God will say, why are you feeling like that? You're like, I'm not sure. Okay, what was the last thing that you did? I did the things that I do every day. So where is this feeling coming from? Exactly. Breathe it out. Blow it out. That's it. You'll feel better instantly. It's not yours. It's projected energy. There is no such thing as hopelessness when you're working with God and when you're innocent. No such thing. Life goes on. You're not going to take a fall as long as you keep on your feet, and you just got to keep on your feet and you got to keep going. So if there's a day where you need to take a moment to meditate, you need to take a moment to pray, and then get back at it and finish your day. You need to take a moment to sage, you need to take a moment to breathe. Don't endure that breath not being, the anxiety in the breath work not being what it should be. Breathe in and out, keep going, get it calm, or as calm as you can in that moment while sticking on your schedule, and then move forward. You gotta, I call it enduring, but what you're actually gonna do is you're gonna find a solution for every problem as it comes up. You're gonna keep educating yourself the best that you can, and you're gonna remain motivated. Remain motivated. More ideas. There's always another way to do it. Okay, well, when I do it this way, this happens. Okay, find another excuse. Find another, not an excuse, sorry, another solution. Don't make excuses for yourself of why you don't want to do things. Don't take any days off. I have days where I can't help it. Like what I need and how I need to do things, I can't do it in the moment. And in those days, those particular days, it's like, oh my God, well, I got to finish early. Let me see if there's something else that I can do. Let me see if there's something else I can start on. Let me see if there's something else I can, figure out. Everybody right now, anybody being gang stalked, your money's not good. But the gang stalkers don't want you to know that their money's also not good. Their money's in worse condition than yours. I can talk from being a failed drug mule recruit that these people are broker than you and they're depending on you traveling with drugs for them to have anything. They're bums. So if they don't have that money, if you as a drug mule, you stop traveling, meaning you're not bringing money in, they're broke. So who has to wait who out? Are they waiting you out or are you waiting them out? You're waiting them out. These people are on death's doorstep, literally. You have this energy behind you backing you, and you have the fact that you're not feeding anybody anymore. So if you're not feeding people, then people gotta starve. That's why they're so aggressive. You have people starving, you have people fighting for their freedom, you have people trying to stay out of jail, and you have people under death threats. Where they don't want to kill you, can't kill you, doesn't make sense to kill you. It's not like that for recruiters. It's not like that for them. So, a drug mule can go to the police station and say, these people, this is what's happening. Drug recruiters cannot go to the police station and say, I recruit people for a living, I sell drugs on a mass scale, and, the cartel's threatening me. It's a different world. There's no recourse. There's nowhere that they can go. That's why they behave this way. It's do or die for them. And you got to operate out of, you're not sitting down and waiting for things to end for people. But you just have to know in the back of your mind and remind yourself that this is why people are behaving like that. And if you were in the same situation, you would be just as aggressive. I look at it and I know that doors are closing in their face. More and more doors are closing every day, and they're panicked and they're sitting on their hands. And sometimes you got to do something just to do something to make you feel like you're doing something. So they'll block engagement and do things like that and feel better about stuff like that. But that's only a matter of time. But you got to I keep closing doors of access, doors of them knowing what I'm doing. I keep closing doors all the time. And that's all I can do. And I do everything that I possibly can do. And I just accept the things that I cannot do are things that I cannot do. And it is what it is. I keep finding solutions for the energy that they throw at me. And I keep closing doors. And I can say, for God taking these people out of my energy, I thank God so much. Like, this is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Oh my God, this is rapist energy. Rapist energy. Like, if you have these nightmares where these people try to sleep with you and you're fighting people off, like, I had one of those, and I always heard about it. I heard about it in the readings. I had one of those, and I know the girl who did it. Like, I know this girl in real life. This girl came to my store and organized a market in my store. Cut her hair and everything to look different. I can't believe that this girl literally came in my dream. Didn't cloak or anything. And I was like, you're gonna fucking pay for that. And that is what it is, I know spirit does not want me to talk about this. Spirit does not want me to say that. But it's the truth. She's going to pay for that. That is a violation. So, it is what it is. They had this thing where I guess this was supposed to make me like be lesbian like girls. If anything, now I am disgusted. I'm disgusted. I'm open-minded. You could do that for you, but not me. I'm disgusted of that energy now. Now I think it's nasty. Like, like I don't, it is what it is. I don't want to cause issues. I want to remind anybody, I have talked about having an ancestral altar. I have other videos regarding that. If you have an ancestral altar, I want to remind you how ancestors work, okay? They're in your energy now. You've pulled them into your reality. So in your reality, they need offerings. They do. They need the offerings. The offerings are not negotiable. When things get really bad, you have to do a little bit more for them. They're frustrated over there, they're angry, they're not happy at what you're going through. They know that it's going to take time to get out of it, but they're pissed off. So, you got to also comfort them as well. And for me, I do that a lot of times with food. You know, who doesn't like that? It's like, even if your family member were not feeling nice, you're like, you know what, let me make you something. And that helps. They feel better. Doesn't change the situation, but they feel better. When things are the most tough, your altar needs to look like Christmas. A feast. Make it nice. Situation will improve. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. If you're having tough days, it's cheap to buy food, okay? Make it nice. Nice meals and put it on there. Don't leave it more than one day, and you don't have to do it every day. But if you think back to being a child, well, I can think of my childhood memories. Like, childhood memories are when, you see 2 cases of malt come through the door, when you see a whole ham being cooked, when you see a turkey being cooked, when they're killing animals, where it's an abundance of food laid out. So you gotta sometimes make it like Christmas for them. You have your one regular candle going, you light another one. This is the time you'll put like wine, you'll put desserts, you'll put extra stuff. You'll ask them what they want during meditation. They will show you, they will tell you. Get it specifically and keep your word. I say all the time, keep your word. Sometimes it's like I'm cooking so much, I'm like, this is crazy because I know I'm gonna toss this out. But that's just how it works. You keep your word. This is what they said they wanted. And I make it nice, and I make it well, and I make it as if the same way that I would eat it. You're not making slop. You're making it the same way, and I plate it nicely. And you know what? Your mood improves. Your motivation improves. All those things that you needed improve. All of a sudden, you get that improvement. You see, you make them strong. So take care of the altar like you take care of your kitchen cabinet, like you take care of yourself. And no, to be honest, you gotta take care of it better than you take care of yourself. I don't always eat. It's not depression, it's none of the above. Sometimes I'm just too into work, and then it's too late and I'm like, I'll eat tomorrow. Sometimes I'm purposely fasting because I want to pray, and that's the other thing. So you lay out your altar, you lay out all the food on your altar, and as the food is there, nice and warm, steam's coming off of it, you pray. This is when you pray. You give not a 15-minute, this is a different kind of prayer than your regular offerings that you give. So this is not like just a 15-minute prayer or what, like you go in prayer. If you gotta cry, you gotta cry, because you gotta get it off your chest and travel light. Get it off your chest and be like, listen, I want you guys to just listen to me. I'm not here to say I'm giving up. I'm not here to say I'm letting go of the promises that we've made to each other. I just gotta get this off my chest. They'll understand over time, because you are dealing with, and you are an energy too. You are an energy too. Let me explain this. You might look at somebody, and this person is 13 years old, and that person spiritually is 500 years old. They've been around so long. You are the same. In the spirit, you may have gray hair and be an elderly person. You're old. You may be an old, I know, I've always had old lady energy. I know that. I know that about myself. So it's like, you have to look at the fact that you're going in that, when you go in the spirit, you're not going as the body that you are. You're not going as whatever age you are. You're going as the energy that they know you as, however old you are in the spirit. So they know that there's memories and things that are disconnected, so they worry about you, they hover over you, they make sure. So when you go there, the same way you have a personality, the same way your personality is a certain way, their personality is a certain way. You guys are reconnecting after a moment of sleeping. So when you go there, you have to tell them, like, I'm not here to say I'm gonna quit. Don't worry. Because in the beginning, you're gonna feel that they're worrying. They're like, oh my gosh, like, is this person gonna give up right now? Like, you're almost there, you're halfway. You gotta let them know, I love your encouragement, but I'm dying on this post. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm doing it no matter what. No matter what. You got to have strength to endure any kind of trial coming to you. But part of that is also releasing. So you could go in the spirit, go in front of your altar that is decked out and release it and be like, I got to release it. I got to let it out. You'll be shocked to know that they will also let you know that they're frustrated too. And that's okay. That's fine. They know the timeline. They know how it's going to play out, but they don't like seeing you upset. They don't like seeing you upset. They don't like the things that are going on. You get it off your chest, you take care of it, and then you get back to letting them know, like, listen, thank you for listening. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you. Encouragement doesn't have to be words, it's a feeling. You feel light, you feel better. Now you're waking up again tomorrow early, getting your day started. And now you have motivation, you have more strength. New ideas are coming to you, new things are coming to you, things are working out. Listen, before you let them know, hey, it's about to be Christmas. What do you want? Because I'll choose for myself. And if you have ancestors, and when you're dealing with ancestors that were living ancestors, meaning that human beings that you knew, you know what they like. So for me, I know what my grandmother likes. I know what she likes to eat. Now, because I know that, I see some people, they put like KFC or McDonald's type of things on their altar. You know, old people in my country don't know what burgers are. They don't like, you can't, they don't like fried chicken. They don't like any of that. They don't believe in that. These are people that drink tea. They don't eat late. You know, they want to go for walks every evening, etc. So I have to make sure that I put something on the altar that is something that they respected. An ethnic food. Some people put things like, they'll put like a raw yam and whatever. I actually cook for my ancestors. I bake for them. I go out of my way. Even if it's late at night, I'm not the one eating it, but I make sure that they're okay. That's what I mean. Sometimes you have to take care of them better than yourself. And sometimes if you don't have the time, just a little coffee. Old people love coffee. Just a little bit of coffee, a little bit of brandy, a little bit of just something that they were into, or something that they would like. The altar is your portal. When you open light an altar, make an altar in your house, it's a portal for you. It's a portal of entry that is dedicated just to them. So when you want to call them, you know, you call them, you give the food, you light a nice incense, something that smells sweet, you pray, and then you do a meditation right then and there. Even if your day is not done, but you're doing the offer, you do your meditation right then and there, and have them speak back to you and see what they want to say. And it's cultivating a relationship, and you learn on the ground running. No one's taught me about my altar. I've heard things here and there. The altar knowledge comes from trial and error. So your people will tell you what they like and what they don't like, what they want. They'll request very specific things. And depending on the ancestors you have, they will like, they could tell you they want a whole ham. I want a ham. Half a ham? No, a whole ham. And you gotta just give them what they want. They know what they want. They know why they want it. You know, the thing about this here is, and I'm gonna make this the last point that I make, because I want to go. A lot of the times you're being attacked because your destiny is to either unmask these people, to show people their real face, to be the person who survives them, and then you start basically a mass exodus, people just getting up and leaving. You know, the book in the Bible, Exodus, what it means? It's like, it means like mass evacuation, like a bunch of people taking off and getting out. So when I say mass exodus, if we're looking at in the situation of the cartel, there's a lot of people binded in there that don't think that they can go. And it takes one person enduring that is motivation for other people. That's what I should be for people, motivation. People are not supposed to look at me like their enemy. I'm supposed to be your motivation. You're supposed to look at me and be like, listen, if this girl can do it, how is she doing it? And I'm telling you how I'm doing it. So if I can do it, why can't you do it? Because it's tough. And because maybe you're not convinced all the way, you're not convinced that I'm gonna make it. I already don't even look like what I've been through. That should say a lot. This is not what 2 years of gang stalking looks like. Not with cartel funding. This is not being funded by a regular person who doesn't like you, who's putting up $10,000, $15,000. This is real funding. This is money that, like, they probably have more drugs than they can sell. That's what a reporter told me. He said they have more drugs than they can sell. Nobody's gonna stop it. So I think that's bullshit. I think God stops it. I think when you start feeling the energy of endings around you, when you're trapped in an energy of endings, you know that you can be stopped. You know that you've opened something that you can't close. So, you know, if nothing else, I am just here to motivate people that you can keep going. You can just keep going one step. It's like if you had no transportation and you have to make it to, in my city, somebody just walked to Hamilton, like 22 hours. Don't worry about how long it took. It's the fact that they got there. They might have had to stop at a gas station, stop to sleep, stop for this, stop for that, but it got done. And that's how you're supposed to look at your life. It's gonna get done. I look at my life like this. It's going to get done. God needs something from me, and my only thing is it's gonna get done. That's it. It's going to get done. So when I go in the spirit, no matter what I'm talking about, I'm always saying it's gonna get done. There's nothing to worry about because it's gonna get done. That's it. It's going to get done. Whatever they need from me, and they're gonna need a lot from you as one person. They're gonna need you to still maintain yourself, still, you know, take care of yourself, eat healthy, because I definitely don't want you, if you don't eat healthy, if you don't work out, people are sending you spell work. Spell work needs something to attach to. You start spending frivolously, the money, it needs some behavior on your part. It touches and then it aligns. So if you're not healthy and they're sending you health work, then that will touch. But if you're still trying to, you don't have to do much. Do some sit-ups in your room, do some jumping jacks, do some pull-ups, do something. So you're still gonna have something. You're still gonna have something at the end of the day that is going to combat what's coming at you. And everything is incremental. Please do not think anything is gonna be all at once. Everything is going to be incremental, one step at a time. Keep going. If your destiny is to show these people can be conquered, to show that you don't have to succumb to them, then that means they're gonna fight you harder than regular people. And the reason they are fighting you is because they know. They have spirits, they have energies too. Dark or light, they still give information. So they have energies that are letting them know that this is what you're here to do. And if they feel that this is what you're here to do, they're gonna fight you harder. So you gotta they are walking you to your destiny. They are creating the conditions that make your destiny a reality. And that's what's happening with me. That's how I see it. If my destiny is to never be here, or to be motivation to people, or to be a catalyst, or to be the person that says, you know, to one or two other people, like, it's time for me to go, then that means I'm gonna have to endure a little bit more, because they want people to be like, well, that person suffered for so long and look what happened to them. You gotta get out on your feet. You gotta get out on your feet. It's important to be on your feet. There are people watching you. You know, I'm telling you, I spoke to someone at Google and she's like, I heard about you. At Google. She's like, yeah, I heard about you before. From Google. This is a global organization. So this is globally known. It's not just in my city. Globally, they've talked about this. Like, There's no country. Well, maybe I'm not going to say there's no country, but there's no like online platform or whatever that I could go to that people probably don't recognize, that there's not going to be people who don't recognize. You know, there's going to be somebody to give me a kick along the way to be like, "Ah, you're the one. You're the one." You know, but there's also a lot of people who are like silently, secretly, they pass you $5 behind, you know, secretly they slide it under their feet, they slide it to you because they're like, I wish I could do that. I get what you're going through. I understand. I wish it was me. There's a lot of those, a lot of those, a lot of those. They just can't say it, and I can't say who they are, but they're there. There's a lot of them. People know who these people are, and they don't want to be a part of it. I'm going to close off with what I try to always do and what I don't always do, but I'm going to pull a crystal card. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to end up pulling the same crystals. I like pulling these crystal cards because a lot of times I end up getting the crystals. I talk about the fact that I get crystals online. There's all these places that sell crystals. There's Amazon, there's AliExpress, there's all these places where you can get crystals for like next to nothing. I get sometimes beads as cheap as $1.50. I get beads as cheap as you know, and then I collect points and all that. So there's always something. Don't buy expensive crystals. It's not worth it. They're gonna break. Crystal care, I talk about leaving your crystals in salt to limit how frequently they're gonna break. You will notice crystals if you wear crystals like beads on your hand, they will pop. They will pop with spiritual attacks. So you gotta watch for that too. This card has been meaning to come out so often. This is aquamarine and it's green. And this is the crystal for clairvoyance and enhanced perceptions. It's the gateway to the higher realms, and it's a high vibrational crystals. So this is counteracting the forces of darkness and procuring favor from angels and higher beings. Aquamarine brings unfinished business to a conclusion, excuse me, and ensures closure on all levels. Aquamarine refuses extraneous thoughts, filtering information, reaching the brain, and clarifying the perception, making it an ideal crystal to support meditation. It also strengthens intuition and assists clairvoyance. Aquamarine dissolves self-defeating programs, allowing the soul to be heard. It protects the aura, balances the chakras. If even one chakra is out of balance, it affects everything. Everything in your life is haywire from one chakra. That's how important it is. It balances the chakras, aligns the subtle bodies, and facilitates spiritual communication. Safi, can you pass me my mala beads, the blue ones, the long chain. On the body, it supports hormonal, immune, and autoimmune systems, throats, glands, thyroid, pituitary, eyes, jaw, teeth, and stomach. And on the mind, it encourages self-expression, overcomes fear, soothes stress, and clarifies perception. I've been needing to get this crystal because it's not the first time this has come up. I use mala beads. So mala beads are beads that you can probably use for meditation. You can use them for chanting. You can use them for praying. And what people would do is you would chant another one and just move it. And don't quote me, I think they have 102 beads. And so you start at this one and you move all the way and you go all the way till you get to the other side. And obviously look how big it is. It's going to take a while. So this is the new thing that I'm into. I don't know why. I will wear it like under my clothing. You can get your crystals in mala beads as well. I sleep with these because it's easier because I have no more space on my hands for beads. But there are crystals that I am super into, and I like what they stand for, and you feel it right away. One thing that I used to suffer from was being projected rage. and constantly just feeling emotions that have nothing to do with me. I'm not in a rage. I'm not upset. I'm feeling rage. I got this one to combat that. And this is called Red Howlite. And I don't know if it'll show, but it's like a red bead and it has these like kind of black veins on them. Red Howlite, and that deals with uncontrollable emotions and uncontrollable rage. So if you're having if especially, listen, I talk to, you don't want to have rage and you're being gang stalked on the street, because being gang stalked on the street, you're gonna lose your cool with people. You don't want to be arrested. The police will not arrest these people, but they'll say you're the one who did something illegal. So you got to watch out for that. So Red Howlite, I wanted to put it out there. And this is the thing, if you're having some emotion or some feeling that you're finding a difficulty dealing with, just Google what crystal can help with whatever it is, and then go from there. What time is it? So 2 spirit message cards. If you think you are alone, you are not. We are beside you in all challenges that you face, all. Trust that outside sources will always be working with you to ensure the best outcome in every situation. We have your best interests at heart. We love you. I love these cards. And it's really true, because let me tell you, when I was being physically gang stalked, I needed to see spirit more than ever. And this was the beginning of me seeing spirits. And it was like, oh my God, there's a lot of them here. So people only think they're alone when they can't see. They don't trust you to be alone. That's the truth. They just don't trust you to be alone. You need assistance. And this is what you're here for. You're here for something special. So you cannot be alone. So you see them. You definitely, I mean, maybe not everybody does, but they're there. If you were to see them, you'd see just how much energy is around you. There's a lot of energy around you. That's why you're still alive. Because these people are trying to get rid of you. They'd rather get rid of you energetically. What they won't do physically, they'll get rid of you energetically just to not give other people hope. So, they're around you. They're with you in everything, and they're going to find a way. Even if it's just sending you the same messages over and over, like whatever it is. But you got to trust your gut too, right? Like what's spirit and what's not. The last one, never allow yourself to be taken for granted. It is better to remove yourself from the situation than to be treated less than you deserve. You are precious and you are worthy. And to add to that, I'm going to say never be tempted to take less than you deserve. And don't allow how people look at you, whether it's how much money you have, what you look like, to make people gaslight you and into having low self-esteem to take less than you deserve. You deserve to be happy. You deserve the world. Most people being gang stalked are lovely people who deserve the world. They deserve everything. God knows that. God's unhappy to see the way that you're suffering. God's unhappy to see the way that you're being treated. God's unhappy about all of it. So just know that your ancestors, your spirit guides are extremely frustrated with everything that you're going through. And they want to be there for you. And I feel like messages like mine, why I make it a priority to come on here and really talk to people, is to make sure that people remain encouraged. You're going through a lot. And, it's very well appreciated, and it will be rewarded no matter what you think. No matter if you know the details or not. Sometimes you can't get the detail, because if you get the details, they get the details. They get the details, they want to block it. That's why you just got to trust God for everything. If you know, and believe me, yes, they can access, they can access your mind. Like they can access thoughts. This is a spirit realm now. Like spirit listens to every thought. So what makes you think that they don't have spirits that can listen to your thoughts as well? It's the same thing. So just keep going, keep motivated, stay positive, and light up the altar like Christmas. Have a great day. It is 10. It is like halfway through some of our days right now. Some of us, we're already like close to halfway through the day, depending on how early you get up, but there's still a lot of day left. So conquer the day, make some progress, keep pushing, come up with some new ideas, and make sure to pray and keep your spiritual hygiene intact. Have a great day, and God loves you.